There are certain things from fractionalized ownership that are so valuable. One is when you invest with the group, we minimize the risk. You're not taking all the risk yourself. If there's 20 of us that invest in one piece of property together and something goes wrong with that property, how many of you'd rather share in the expenses to fix that property versus have to burden all of the share on your own shoulders? Raise your hands, right? I'm not saying that you can't invest alone and succeed, because you can, because I've invested in plenty of properties alone and succeeded. What I will say is that moment in 2015 when we opened the first fund and those 21 people invested with us and all 21 of those people made money, the game shifted. Because I went from trying to acquire another deal to make money, and I want you to pay really close attention to this. I went from trying to acquire another deal to make money to a breakthrough, and realized the game was about acquiring money. And if I could acquire more money and more money could go to work for me, then the returns can be compounded. They can be doubled, tripled. They can go 10x, they can go 100x. And how many of you in your life, though, are working to acquire the next deal that will make you money? How many of you working your jobs to make more money? Raise your hands. And the moment the conversation would shift and change, if the game became you were working to acquire more money, then your paradigm and your mental will shift. Now, over the weekend, you'll understand this more and more. But in the simplest example, here in Southern California, I think an average home price, what would we say, $600,000 is pretty fair? Is that pretty fair? I know a lot of you are like, well, I see 800, I see $1 million, I see 2 million. Remember, there are plenty of communities that aren't LA and aren't Orange County and aren't San Diego. But we'll just say, for those of you who want it to go higher, we'll say 700,000. In your lifetime, if you can acquire a property for 700,000, what's the down payment with an FHA loan? Let's say it's 3%. What's that down payment? $21,000. Now, you can work your entire life to save up $700,000 to go to work for you. But the day you buy that property, $700,000 goes to work for you. And over time, it appreciates. Over time, it grows. Over time, it expands. And those who are in the military or have military background, some of you only have to even do 1% or even no percent down, right, on properties. How long would it take you, right, from your work and your slave labor, right, and I call it slave labor, right, here in America, you will understand what I mean when I call it money shackles, right? How long would it take you to save up $700,000 and then put it to work for you? Would it take you a really long time? Raise your hands if you think it would take you a long time. I don't know that I'm the wealthiest person in this room, but if I'm not, you're very wealthy if you're wealthier than me. And even at this point in my life, right, it would take me a good amount of time to save up an additional $700,000 and put it to work for me, right? And so for me, I look at the people in this room and I say, we got to put more money to work. We got to acquire more money. Another one of those shifts when I was buying tax deeds was when I bought my first tax deed. I want to say it was $54,000. When I bought that first tax deed, and it was about 30 cents on the dollar, and I'll tell you, there will be plenty of numbers and plenty of deals we're going to go through this weekend, right? Both businesses and real estate. But I think real estate creates a foundation for investing. I think if you can understand real estate as a foundation, you can then expand into business investing. And if you try to go business investing first, I think it's very complicated when you compare it to real estate investing. I actually feel that understanding the numbers in real estate investing is far simpler than understanding a P&L and a balance sheet and what is the DNA of a founder and all of the things that come with investing in businesses. So we're going to go through a ton of deals to help you understand the numbers. And when that property was worth $150,000, and I bought it for $54,000, kind of blew my mind. I'm like, I just acquired $100,000. How many of you, when you look at buying a property, you're thinking about what does that property acquire for you? What does that money acquire for you? What does that money make you? How does that money build for you? How does that money compound? And it's hard because let's say you buy that first $700,000 home in California. It's not day one that it makes money. Day one money is easier to understand. How many of you would agree with that? Raise your hands, right? Day one money is easier to understand. Day 10-year money, how many of you that's very difficult to fully comprehend and fully understand? Raise your hands.